Have any of you guys ever considered making your own gaming PC, but never really had the money to do so, or just thought it was too challenging? Well, in today's video, we're going to be teaching you step by step how to build your own gaming PC for under $600. Let's get into the video. So first we're starting off with the good old PC case. This is a Cooler Master Masterbox Lite 5 RGB mid tower. This has a nice cleared tempered glass side panel which allows you to see the inner components of your computer. This also comes with 4 cooling fans, 3 of which have RGB lighting, which are on the front, and the back one does not. It also comes with 2 colors of interchangeable pieces that allow your PC case to match the rest of your build. So we picked this up at Micro Center for around $70, which is a really good deal considering it has a nice tempered glass side panel and 4 cooling fans. So for the graphics card, we got the Red Dragon Radeon RX 570. This is a very good graphics card and compares similar in performance to the GTX 1060 6GB model. This is a beast of a graphics card, especially for this price range. We picked this up at Micro Center for around $130. So for a processor, I decided to go with the AMD Ryzen 5 2600. This is a very good processor and fits in any AM4 motherboard. This has a base clock speed of 3.4 GHz and a max clock speed of 3.9 GHz. This is a 6-core, 12-thread processor, and we picked this up for around $130 at Micro Center. I almost forgot to mention that this processor also does come with the Wraith Stealth cooler, which is a pretty decent cooler. You know, it's not as good as the Wraith Spire, which comes with the 1600, but it's a decent cooler and it'll get the job done. You won't be doing any overclocking with this, but you can always get an overclocking CPU cooler in the future. Now next up is the motherboard. We got a Gigabyte X470 motherboard. This is a very good motherboard. It allows you to do high overclocks. This motherboard also does have RGB lighting in it, which looks very good in your builds. We picked this up at Micro Center for $103. The initial price of this is $133, but since this is an open box motherboard, we got it for $30 cheaper. So next up is RAM, or random access memory. This is the Skill Ripjaw 2x4 GB DDR4 RAM kit. This has a speed of 2,400 MHz. This works very well with Ryzen. So we picked this up at Micro Center for $54. So this is a very good buy for 8 GB of RAM. I really recommend this. We went with the 480 GB SSD. We picked this up at Micro Center for $50. So this is a very good SSD. 480 GB as I said, so this will be able to handle a decent amount. So heading on to the power supply, we went with the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus power supply. So this is a very good budget power supply. This came out to about $50 at Micro Center, and this 500 watt power supply is about enough to handle all the things that we have on here. So if you want overclocking, you're going to have to upgrade to a higher power supply, but for now this 500 watt will work perfectly for this. Alright, so I guess it's time to put this thing together. So first off, we're going to be starting with the motherboard so we can attach everything onto it. So I'll just move everything aside real quick. Alright, let's open this thing up. Okay. Ooh, here it is. We got this as an open boxed motherboard, so everything is a little out of order, but it still functions good as new. So it comes with some cords to hook up the plate. And here's a motherboard itself. Man, this looks like a beautiful motherboard. Now this does have RGB lighting, which will look really good with our build. Alright, so here is the processor. What I do is line up this little yellow triangle on here with the socket. There's a little triangle on there too. Alright, so once you line up those 2 triangles, just put it in like this. It should drop right in just like that. You shouldn't need to apply any pressure. And then you just close this latch to lock it. And like that, and you're good with the processor. So now we're going to be cleaning off the processor. You can use rubbing alcohol like I have right here, and just put it like on some tissue paper and then just wipe it down. Alright, so I have this all cleaned off. Now it's time to put on the thermal paste. I have this little bottle right here kind of thing. And so the rule is usually to put a small grain of rice size dot in the center of your CPU. To install your cooler, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver and just unscrew these 4 screws right here that hold in these plastic pieces. so now it's time to put on the cooling fan. So in order to do that, you just line these up with these 4 screw holes right here. It's like this, all lined up. And then you're going to use your Phillips screwdriver again to screw this in. So for the CPU fan, there's a fan plug right here, and you're just going to want to plug this right into here, and that will give power to your fan. Next up is your RAM. So what you're going to want to do is grab 1 stick of RAM. So the rule is if you have 2 sticks of RAM and there's 4 slots, what you're going to want to do is put 1 in 1 slot, skip 1, and then put 1 in the other slot. There's only 1 way to put in your RAM, so don't be worried about putting it in the wrong way. So you put it down like this, and then you just press down, apply pressure, and you should hear a click, and that means it's in. Dual fan. It's got this nice red dragon over here. Looks really nice. What we're gonna have to do is line this up with one of these graphics card slots, and then we're gonna be taking off one of these panel kind of thingies. We're gonna have to unscrew some of these panels right here. All right, so now we're just gonna fit this graphics card in. All right, so just like that, it should just slide in, and then we can tighten these screws. All right, so now it is time to mount our SSD. Right here is 480 gigabyte. So what we're gonna do is basically just put this on here. See these screw holes right there? We're just gonna put this on here, and then from the back, screw it in. Okay, now it's time to put this SSD in. We connected it to this plate, and we're just gonna put this right here, close it down, and then twist this little finger screw. And then our SSD is in. So now that we have all the components of our PC inside, it's time for cable management. So we're gonna be plugging in this 24-pin power cable. So we finally got in the power cable. So now that we've built our PC and finished hooking up all the cables, it's time to do some FPS tests. So we're going to be going on Fortnite and seeing what FPS it gets on low, medium, high, and epic settings. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, we're here on Fortnite. We're going to be testing out what FPS it gets. So this is native resolution. So we're going to go into the settings and make sure we're going to have our view distance on epic, everything else on the lowest setting, and then 3D resolution all the way up. So we're just going to get into a quick game. Walking around on the ground right here, getting about 270 to 290 FPS. So yeah, we're getting an average about around 200 FPS. So we're gonna go to settings, bring these up to medium. So right now I'm seeing around 170, 180, up to 190 FPS. So you can see the quality. I'll just look around. Pretty good quality. Alright, so I'm going to turn settings up to high settings. Alright, so we're around 130 FPS walking around.